Assalamu alaikum and good evening. Thank you for joining us. We'll start by 4:35 exactly. As soon as we get some of our speakers, we'll just dive into the discussion straight. And as we are going with the discussion, and as we are getting other people on the call, we'll try and be recapping on some of the things that we've discussed. Thank you, and I hope you stay tuned with some of the things that we're going to discuss today. Okay, Lisa, you are highly welcome. As I've announced with some of the people that are already with us, we want to start by 4:35. That's 7 minutes away from the time that we are at present. Thank you and welcome to all of us once again. Assalamu alaikum, and a warm welcome to all of us once again. As I've announced when we started this meeting, we are starting at exactly 4:35. So we are starting in 2 minutes time. Please exercise some patience. We already have some of the speakers with us here. And at exactly 4:35, we would have straight into what brought all of us here. Thank you for your patience. Assalamu alaikum, and a very uh, incredible good evening to all of us. My name is Dr. Shuaib Sani Shuaib, and I'm the curator of the Kano Hub of Global Shippers Community. And together with Barrister Adam Abubakar, who is our impact officer at the Kano Hub of Global Shippers Community, we are going to be co-hosting this session. And we are going to be talking about the Mandela Washington Fellowship application process with some of the recent fellows and with some fellows that must have went through the fellowship some years back. So I would like to start with an introduction of some of the fellows that we are going to be hearing from today. And then afterward, there will be an icebreaker session by Barrister Adam. And then from there, we are going to move to some of the discussions that we have to discuss today. So for the speakers, I would like to start with the schema on how we arrange them on the flyer, and I'm going to be giving. I'm sorry, I got that here. Please, can anyone hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I
Yes,
think
yes, we can.
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
okay. Okay, Dahir, can you hear any of us here? So maybe he must be having a problem with his network. So we'll just go straight into the introduction. I do hope Uga Isa Dahir will resolve issue with his network as we carry on with the discussion. So the first speaker that I'm going to introduce is Pharmacist Isa Dahiru. And Pharmacist Isa Dahiru is a dedicated healthcare professional, and he's a 2024 Mandela Washington Fellow. And he has a passion for improving public health in Nigeria. He's the CEO and founder of Specs Care Limited, and he leads initiative focused on making medicine safe, affordable, and accessible to all. As an innovator, Isa has developed the popular smart bladder device in October 2023 for the treatment of urinary incontinence that won the 2023 National Award of Innovation by the Nigerian Communication Commission. Isa's work extends to the digital health space, where he managed a digital HIV clinic in a rural hospital and actively engaged in HIV response across Nigeria. He's also pursuing a master's degree in public health, aiming to eliminate side effects and introduce advanced wearable devices. In his community, Isa is heading a project on drug abuse prevention, particularly targeting Hausa-speaking population through culturally tailored content and peer-to-peer education. He's working to raise awareness on drug abuse and also working to mitigate the problem of drug abuse. So that's our first presenter. The second one is Dr. Hafiz Mukhtar. Dr. Hafiz Mukhtar is a young doctor of physiotherapy. He's dedicated to public and digital health advocacy, and he's currently serving as the chairman of the Association of Youth Healthcare Professionals of Nigeria. He has years of work experience, most especially in the Sustainable Development Goal Promotion arena, mostly focusing on the promotion of SDG 3. Dr. Hafiz has led numerous initiatives aimed at bridging healthcare disparities and advancing digital healthcare for more accessible care. He's a Mandela Washington Fellow and has received several prestigious awards. Some of the awards that were received by Dr. Hafiz include the prestigious Spirit of Detroit Award, the Barack Obama Young Leader Award, the Kamala Harris Young African Leader Award, the Russian Open Door Award, and the Postgraduate Excellency Award from Bournemouth University, UK. Additionally, he was a global finalist in the Global Peace Chain competition of SDG 3, among other accolades. The third speaker that is going to be speaking to us today is Mariam Abbas Abdulkadir Bichi, ARPA. Mariam is a digital marketing specialist with expertise in social media marketing, content marketing, and e-commerce marketing with over 7 years of experience. She is also a digital content creator, a social media business coach, and a consultant who guides and coaches small businesses owners on effectively managing their businesses online. She is mostly recognized as the House of Social Media Coach. She has impacted over 4,000 women-led businesses and aspiring youth entrepreneurs across digital skills and scale up their businesses. The fourth speaker that we are going to be hearing from is Ahmad Abubakar. And Ahmad Abubakar has over 5 years of experience in development sector. He has championed civic participation and youth mobilization for community development. Ahmad is currently the project lead for Turn Up Jigawa, a youth-led civic engagement project which strives to develop active youth change makers in democracy by collaborating with lawmakers to address major social issues. He's a 2024 Mandela Washington Fellow. He studied in the civic engagement tract from the presidential precinct in the US, a 2023 YIGA Africa Community Organizing Institute Fellow, and a national delegate for the Nigeria Youth Future Fund, NYFF, at LEAP Africa. Ahmad is a multiple grant winner who has influenced over 5,000 youth through civic engagement efforts. Having a bachelor degree in English from Bayero University, Kano, Ahmad is deeply committed to addressing the growing challenge posed by Africa's youth unemployment, social exclusion, and low involvement in governance, all of which impair the continent's long-term development trajectory. The second to the last speaker is Dr. Jamila. Dr. Jamila is a PhD holder in development communication. She works at the intersection of development, empowerment, and inclusion. She's a community development advocate who works in predominantly youth participation for development. Dr. Jamila conducted research using participatory video as a tool to empower rural youth for agricultural development. She has been able to curb a niche for herself in the field of research for development, coming from academia, where she taught, supervised, and facilitated students' research. She has over time refined her skill in working with young people from diverse backgrounds in furtherance of sustainable development. The last person that is going to be speaking to us today is Dr. Rukaya. Dr. Rukaya is a cardiologist and a non-communicable disease advocate. She has a medical degree from Bayero University, Kano, and a master's degree from the University of Edinburgh. She is a Commonwealth scholar. She is a former curator of the Kano Hub of Global Shippers Community. She is also a medical researcher and has won Bongani Mayosi Research Collaboration for Cardiovascular Research in Africa. Dr. Rukaya is a 2015 Mandela Washington Fellow and an International Association of Wagner College, New York. So these are the people that are going to be speaking with us today. And before we call on to them one by one to get from the wisdom that they brought to us today, I would like to yield the mic to Mr. Adam Abubakar, the impact officer here at Kano Hub of Global Shippers Community, to give us a very short icebreaker session for 5 minutes, and then we'll dive straight into the conversation. Thank you for joining us.
I'm so sorry, Dr. Shaib. Please, can we start? I can do that later. Please. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. I think we'll excuse Adam a bit, and then we'll go straight into the discussion today, and then he's going to come back with the icebreaker. So the icebreaker is going to serve as maybe a medium for us to start with the conversation, and then to make this conversation as informal as possible, so that we are going to have a very friendly interaction with each other. So for the agenda that we have, the first thing on the agenda is for us to have an overview of the fellowship. And for overview of the fellowship, I would like to call on pharmacist Isa Daher, if he's able to resolve the issue with his mic or with his network, for him to give us an overview of the fellowship. So maybe we'll have 2 or 3 of the fellows to give us an overview of the fellowship, and then keep progressing with what we have on the agenda. So pharmacist Isa Daher, are you with us?
Yes, Shaibu, I am with you. Thank you so much, and I hope you can all hear me quite clear.
Yeah, you are very much audible now.
Okay, great. So like Shaibu said, my name is Isa Dahiru. I practice mainly as community pharmacist here in Nigeria, and I am 2024 Mandela Washington Fellow. It's a pleasure and a privilege for me to be here with all of you, and I'm so glad to see a lot of faces, a lot of familiar faces here. Like an overview about the fellowship, Mandela Washington Fellowship, like everyone knows, is an initiative that we refer to mainly as YALI. That's Young African Leaders Initiative. It's a program of the United States of America that is being carried out through the Department of State, and they have like an implementing partners. Mandela Washington Fellowship happens to be or happens to come by during the Barack Obama's administration around 2014. The main aim is for the fellowship to bring young leaders to the United States from the sub-Saharan Africa for academic coursework, leadership training, and create unique opportunities for fellows and Americans to collaborate. And uh, uh, one of the key things that is always looking forward is strengthening democratic governance and enhancing peace and security across Africa and the United States. So it's kind of an opportunity being given by the government of the United States for young leaders from sub-Saharan Africa to go into the United States in form of like a cultural exchange. But then you're going to be having a lot of academic coursework, a lot of leadership training, a lot of visitations to industries, a lot of interaction with Americans and stuffs like that. So this is like an overview about the Mandela Washington Fellowship.
Thank you very much, Pharmacist Isa Dahiru. Dr. Hafiz, are you with us? I don't know if you would want to add on what was mentioned as an overview of the fellowship.
Oh yeah,
Yes, yes,
Can you
please
hear
go
me
ahead.
all? Thank you, Dr. Shaibu, my good friend, and Pharmacist Isa Dahiru, and all the speakers, my colleagues. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Hafiz Mukhtar, and I'm from Jaho Local Government of Jigawa State. And God so kind, I happen to be among the 2024 Mandela Washington Fellows who went for the fellowship recently. And I am part of public management track. So as is mentioned, MWF, that's called Mandela Washington Fellowship, is a program of the United States Department of State specifically. And the fellowship is run for 6 weeks with the optional of PDE, that is professional development experience, of 4 months. So and it's basically been carried out by 25 to 28 institutions in the United States. Each host institute will have 25 fellows, and it's like regarding your track. The fellowship has 3 tracks. There's public management track, where the public policy people, government people will be placed on, and it also place on, and then business and entrepreneurship, where the business people, Isa, my friend, happened to be on business track, and Ahmad happened to be on civic engagement. Isa from business, they are the people who has the money, and then Ahmad, they are the civic actors who held us accountable with the public managers. So this is basically like an overview of the fellowship, and I can say that this fellowship is a life-changing opportunity, because no matter what you're doing, if you go to United States, you see a mentor, you see a supervisor, you see someone who is ready to push you to your peak level of your career. So this is just an overview of the MWF fellowship from my side. Thank you.
Mashallah, Dr. Hafiz. I think you've touched on something really important and something that we're going to be talking about as we carry on with this conversation, the tracks for the Mandela Washington Fellowship. But before then, I think Dr. Jamila Muhammad is on the call, and she was a Mandela Washington Fellow in 2015. So I don't know if she has heard something from both Dr. Hafiz and Pharmacist Isa that maybe wasn't the same during that time, 2015 and 2024. That's a very long time. So I don't know if she would want to chip in to add something.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Shaib. Thank you to the speakers. Well, yes, it is a very, very long time, right? The first thing I said when I got this invite was that, oh my God, that was 9 years ago. Do I even remember the process? But we're here.
That's true.
Yeah, so I don't think so maybe when we begin the conversations I would know if things have changed. But then actually talking to the prospective fellows right now about what it was 2015, I'm not sure would do them any good. It's more about knowing what it is right now, most especially from the previous speakers who were 2024 fellows and all of that. But as we go on,
Yeah.
I would know if there are things that I should come in with. So far, so good, I would say. Please, we may proceed. Thank you.
Okay. So I think before you mute your mic, I would want us to dive straight into the tracks for the fellowship, and specifically, I would want you to dissect the tract that you entered into the fellowship with. Was the tract, and what was the tract like, and how do someone identify that this is the right tract for him?
Okay, so is that question addressed to me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So it's good that I'm starting so that the other fellows now can come in and say, "Oh, this has changed. This is no
Yeah.
longer happening, right?"
Exactly.
Yeah. So I hope I can do justice to this. First thing I would say is 2024, 2025, there were 3 tracks. But I know that a year after, there were discussions to add an extra track, which is the energy track. I don't know if that has happened. So can someone respond to that? I know that there was the
Yeah.
civic
They
public
were
admin.
Ma'am, it has not happened. Like we are just having 3 tracks.
Okay,
Thank
and
you.
There was
which are what now? What are the 3 tracks?
We have like public management, civic engagement, and business and entrepreneurship.
Awesome. So it was the same track 2020, 2015 then, but I know that I think 2016 they added that energy track. Maybe it didn't work out and they took it out. So yes, 3 tracks: public management, civic engagement, and business and entrepreneurship. I applied for the public management track. And why did I do that? Because I was in the academia at that point. So that's basically public management, because when you're working in an environment, in a public setting, um, you're managing projects, whatever it is. As long as you're in that public setting, then you are for the public management track. The colleagues who went for civic engagement were people who were into community work, who were into, and I'm sure they're here, they could talk about it. Rukaya, my colleague, 2015, was in the public civic engagement track. Even though she was a doctor, that was quite a bit confusing. But I'm sure she will talk about that. And then we have the business and entrepreneurship, who were not really the money per se, but people who were more into the entrepreneurship space, people who were trying to start their businesses, people who were starting, startups, right? So those people were the guys who applied for the business management, business and entrepreneurship track. So what I would want to say is, beyond everything we're going to tell you on this call, there's that call for application. There's that profile of the program, and in it you would see all of these tracks. Read them well and understand. I think the first thing about applying for this fellowship is to actually understand the tracks and what they mean to you. Right. So, like I said, you might be a doctor, for example, like my colleague, but then see that you have a pull towards civic engagement. And why is that? Because she has probably done some stuff in that space. So whatever you're applying for, so it's not a matter of, I want to start a business. So maybe for Mandela Washington Fellowship, I should apply for the business and entrepreneurship track. No, it doesn't work that way. You must have a business. You must have something you're doing in that space to be able to apply, because now the people who are scoring, the people who are mostly, and I might be wrong now because I know that the scores for the applications are past fellows, are looking out for your personal stories. They're looking out for those places where you've been able to leave a mark. What are you doing in that space? So it's not a case of what am I going to do in that space? No, what have you done in that space? For public management, for me, it was easy. I had already had, at that point, I think I had about 5 years experience in the academia. I was doing a lot of community engagement through my students. I was volunteering with organizations. I was doing some media work. So it's easy to say this is what I have done in the public management space, and this is what I want to do going forward. So it's kind of like you have a contribution, you have a value in that sense. So yes, that's the word. Think about your value and what you're adding to those tracks. If it's a business and entrepreneurship track, what are you doing in that space? And how are you adding to that space? Those are the things you're looking out for. You have to be honest, because somehow when we read applications, we're able to tell, right? I did some reading, I think the first year, and then after that, that was it. But you could actually tell the applications where people are just lying, people are just trying to say, oh, we did this, we did that, because there are questions. And I want the fellows now, the most immediate fellows, to talk about this. I don't know if this has changed, but there are actual questions where you're supposed to have essays to talk about what you have done. How are you volunteering in this space? How are you doing this? So when you begin to be dishonest, it comes out, it tells, and that's when you have fellows who are applying 3, 4, 5 times and not getting in. There's something they're not saying that is hitting the application scores at that point. So you have to be very honest. What is your value? Think about yourself as a person. Think about the tracks. How do you fit into these tracks? What are you doing in those spaces? And how do you think this can help you in the future? Be very honest about it. Be very clear in your terms, in everything you're saying, in what you want to achieve, your goals and your objectives. Those have to come out, and they have to come out clearly. So that's what I can say in form of like a general overview about the tracks. It's about you. It's about what you're doing right now. It's about what you want to add value to, and then how you're able to identify and choose those tracks is all that matter. If I'm in the public sector space, for example, and I decide, oh, I'm going to apply for business and entrepreneurship because they're the ones who have the 25K grant. I don't know if that's still happening. So that's why I'm probably not the best person to be talking here. But hey, and you think, oh, these guys have the opportunity to apply for 25K grant, to do this, to do that. Oh, let me apply for this, right? You would not do justice to that application because that's not your space. So you'll be dabbling, you'll be touching, it's going to be touch and go, right? Because that is not your space. So key to application, identify your space. Which one is your track? This is my track, clearly. And then as you begin to respond to those questions, it will come naturally, it will come easily, because this is your space, this is where you're doing all the work. So that's what I have to say now. And then I hand over back to you, Shoaib.
Thank you very much, Ma. So I think to add on what you've said, I had a discussion with one of the past fellows, and at a point they added the energy tract and they removed it. So I think they maintained the 3 tracks that the 2024 fellows and you that got the fellowship in 2015 have mentioned. And I think a little summary of what you've said is the fact that they are not looking for people that have started, and obviously they are not looking for people that have perfected what they are doing. They are looking for people that have been consistent with what they are doing, and then people that have some room for improvement, obviously, because if you are perfect, then why are you going for the fellowship? So I think I'll hand over the mic back to Isa Dahiru if you would want to add to some of the things that were discussed about the tract, and I want you to put a spotlight on your tract. Dr. Jamila was from the public management tract, so we'd like to hear pharmacist Isa Dahiru to discuss about his tract and what he can advise people that are going into such tract.
All right. Thank you, Shaibu, and thank you, Dr. Jamila, for the wonderful overview. So for me, I was 2024 Mandela Washington Fellow, like I said earlier, business and entrepreneurship track. So I want to talk more on this aspect, the track, the business and entrepreneurship track. The business track of the Mandela Washington Fellowship is one of the key areas or key focus of the fellowship. Like I said, what they're looking for in this track is the concept of entrepreneurship, business innovation, economic development, and stuff that has to do with that. No matter how little, no matter how small you think your idea, your business is, in as much as there is economic development, there is impact that you're making in your community, and there is an idea, there is a concept of at least business innovation. You are not doing it the way Mr. B and Mr. C are doing that. Then you're good to go to head into the business and entrepreneurship track. Now, the purpose and focus of business and entrepreneurship track is one, the entrepreneurship leader. As a Mandela Washington Fellow, one of the key things about it is they are going to train you to be a leader, to be the leader of whatever you're doing. If you're a civic activist, they want you to be the leader in the sense that you don't have to be the head, you don't have to be the CEO, but at least someone that is taking responsibility of his action, someone that is motivating others. That's the concept of leadership here. So entrepreneurial leadership is one of the purpose and focus. The track is tailored for individuals who are either leading their own businesses or playing significant role in other organizations. I have been receiving questions that must I be a founder of a particular business or kind of having my own company for me to apply? I said no. You can be part of someone's business. You can be like maybe a treasurer, a financial secretary, just like an aspect of someone's business, and you can still apply and get selected for the Mandela Washington Fellowship. Then the second purpose and focus is economic impact. The track emphasizes the role of business leaders in driving economic growth, creating jobs, solving social challenges through entrepreneurship ventures. These are the things that the fellowship is looking for. Then it has, for me, for my institute, we had like key components of the track. One of the key components is the academic and leadership training. When you applied and got selected for the business track, you will undergo a lot of academic and leadership training. You will engage in intensive academic sessions, practical leadership training that includes business strategy, financial management, marketing, and operations, stuff like that. Then they have what they call experiential learning. Experiential learning means site visitations. You're going to visit a lot of business sites, a lot of companies, a lot of investment opportunities, a lot of financial groups, so that you will get to see how they are applying the concept of leadership. Whatever you have learned from the academic leadership training, you get to see the practical part of it. That is the experiential learning. Then the last thing about it is the mentorship. You will be fed with mentors. We call them focus projects. They are like an experienced individuals, either academic members of the academic community or captains of the industries. You will get to be paired with someone that is going to be overseeing your activities. He's going to be like, do this, that's right, this is wrong, this is how you will do this. He's going to mentor you. Then the third component is the networking opportunities. We have what we call Fair Network. In Fair Network, fellows connect with like-minded. The Mandela is more like about the network that you're going to build. Remember, 700 African leaders or 700 young Africans are going to the United States, and you will get to meet a lot of people, different people from different part of the African, West Africa. You will get to see that at the end of the fellowship, you will know someone in Ethiopia, you will know someone from Ghana, from this, from that. That is a network. And the second network is the US business community. Like Dr. Jamila said, yes, there are grants that are an opportunity for the fellows to apply, and that is what they call the US business community. The fellowship also provides opportunities for you to connect to those investors, those US communities that provide grants for you to scale up or to promote your business. Then the last part that I'm going to talk about is the follow-on opportunities. These follow-on opportunities, they are more like an opportunity where even if you're back to Nigeria, you're back to your home country in Africa, you will get to to be connected with different people, that will guide you, that will put you through whatever you're doing. And that is particularly been done through the alumni network. In the alumni network, you will get to see there is a Nigerian alumni network, there is an African alumni network where you get to collaborate, to do reciprocal exchange programs, to build projects across the sub-Saharan African part of Africa. Now, how do you, when maybe later on I can share how the tips that I use for me to consider myself for the business track and the eligibility and selection process for this particular track. Thank you so much, Shaib.
Thank you very much, Pharmacist Isa. So, I think at this juncture, I would like to introduce Maria. And Maria Aminu is our M&E lead for the Kano Hub of Global Shippers Community. I believe Shibani is also a member of one of the hubs of Global Shippers Community across the world. She mentioned something very important. If a global shipper can be able to share his or her experience with regards to the Global Shippers Community and the Mandela Washington Fellowship. And I think Dr. Rukaya, who was a former curator of the Kano Hub, and by virtue of that, she's a global shipper and then a former Mandela Washington Fellow, is going to hammer on that. And at the end of this, I would like Shibani to come in too, if she would want to add a thing or two. But for now, I would also like to acknowledge the presence of Mariam Bichi. Mariam Bichi is also part of the speakers that we are going to be having. She earlier sent her apology that she was on transit, that she's going to join a little bit late. So she's with us now. And I'll call on Dr. Hafiz to tell us about his tract. And after then, we are going to yield the mic to Mariam Bichi for her to also tell us about her own tract for the fellowship. So Dr. Hafiz, open to you.
All right. Thank you once again, Dr. Shaib. Basically, Dr. Jamila, my senior colleague, has mentioned more about the public management track where I found out myself. And Isa also has detailedly talked about the business track. To be candid, while I was applying for this fellowship in 2022, my first attempt, I was confused about the track selection. I didn't know which track I should specifically choose because I was working with the government. I also engaged with doing community stuffs like that. And when I read the description of the fellowship, I read that description, I read the call for the application almost more than 20 times. Then I got to know that I supposed to be on the public management track. And God so kind, my experience so far as a public management track fellow is a life transforming opportunity. I was placed at the Wayne State University, Michigan, which is one of the 3 oldest public research institute in Michigan, and it has like global and international lecturers over there. I also have the opportunity to be like to network with other people outside of the university community who are working in my own sector, that is health promotion. My take-home note is that from public management track, that public management track consists of almost the 3 tracks together, bind together, the business and the civic engagement and the public policy. We also have, as Isa mentioned, we have academic courseworks. We have networking sessions where you basically engage with health policy if you are from health people, if you are from agric, if you have whatsoever profession you are. And then also we also have a site visitation where we usually visit site and experience the atmosphere over there and take some part of the experience back home to Nigeria. As a public management track, we will also be placed with a mentor or supervisor who will guide you through your focus project, whether you are doing education promotion, whether you're doing health promotion, whether you're doing girls' right education, whatsoever. You will have your own personal mentor who will be with you throughout the fellowship and possibly throughout your life. And then we also have the opportunity to also apply for grants through fellowship and through the U.S. Department of State. And my mentor or my supervisor, Focus Project Coach, happened to work with the CDC Center for Disease Control, WHO, IOM, and several international organizations. He is well experienced and vast with the knowledge of health promotion, digital health space, and all that. Happened to introduce me to the global health community. Through this fellowship, I can now apply for grants directly
Yes.
to the Poverty International, GHC, and so ever and so ever. So this is just basically about public management track, and maybe later in the session I can also give my own instinct on how I finally got selected in 2023. Thank you.
Mashallah, Dr. Hafiz, thank you so much. So, Mariam, I would like you to talk to us about the business track. I think Pharmacist Isa has hammered on that already, but we would like to have your perspective on this. So, Mariam, I'm yielding the mic to you. Hi, Mariam. Hello. Mariam, are you with us? Hi, Mariam. I don't know if Ahmad Abubakar is with us, Dr. Hafiz. I can't seem to
Ahmad
find him
should be
on.
with us, but let me get to know whether he's or not.
I have a question, Shuaib.
Okay.
Okay, so it says that this is a tea party, right?
Yes.
This is the first time I'm in a tea party, in a virtual tea party, to be honest. And I got all
Sorry?
excited, got my tea. This is the first time I'm in a virtual tea party. No, seriously, I'm literally taking tea right now. But nobody has made reference to
I'm
tea.
literally waiting for my tea to arrive too, and I believe some of the members.
I got my tea and it's really hot here. Got my tea ready before I connected, and nobody has
I think
mentioned
going
tea.
forward, I think going forward, if it is fine with all of us, we can be putting on our what is it called? Our video, so we
cameras.
can be.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, because it seems like just
We are going to
right
see.
now. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's going to be more fun that way. So, Mariam, I don't
Doctor,
know if you can hear.
my icebreaker is also about the tea. So once I'm ready, we'll have it. Don't worry.
Okay.
But by then I would
If
have
you are
finished
ready,
my
please.
tea. It's remaining very small, and I'm not gonna have more because it's really hot. But that's fine.
Yeah. So, Mariam Bichi, are you with us, please? Hello, Mariam.
Yes, I am. Hello?
Okay. Please. Yeah. I was asking if you can be able to expand shed on your experience with regards to the business track.
Okay. Yes, that would be
But
amazing.
if
Let
you
me on my
can lay
camera.
more impact.
Okay, no problem. Actually, me, I'm not even on tea.
Please,
I'm on
Mariam.
tour. I'm excited about. Oh, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, please. Yes, Mariam, we
So
can hear you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Hello?
Hello, we can hear
Madam,
you.
you can go ahead.
You're audible. Just go ahead.
The sound, the network is something else. Okay, so thank you for having me all. As duly introduced, my name is Mariam Abbas Bichi, but I'm popularly known as Mariam Bichi. I am a digital marketer, and I work closely with SMEs and aspiring entrepreneurs, especially youth, to acquire digital skills they need in order to grow their businesses. Basically, Me, I'm not on tea. I'm on tour because I'm so excited about eating traditional food. Because today, for how many weeks we have not been eating our traditional food, so I'm not on tea. So jokes apart, as introduced, I was a Mandela Washington Fellow for the previous fellowship, which was 2024, which I was on the business track and I was posted to University of Iowa, which is the TP College of Business, under the John Papa John Entrepreneurship Business Center, which is focused more on impact entrepreneurship. That was where I was posted to. So for me, I was posted to the countryside of the United States, where it's focused more on the
Hi, Mariam.
It seems Miriam's network is bad.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
So,
I think what I will advise is for her to put up the video, because the network is really bad. When you put on the video, the network keeps on fluctuating, and you can hardly have the server time to get the two things, the voice and the video at the same time.
yeah. So, I think Dr. Hafiz is Ahmad with us?
Ahmad also is not with us. I just contacted him. He's offline. I don't know. Isa, do you
Okay.
have his other number?
No, I don't. I don't. I don't. I just chatted him up on WhatsApp, but he's not responding.
Okay. I think that's
Okay.
fine. We can still go ahead with the conversation. So I think something that many of the speakers have touched on, and many of the audience will be very much interested in hearing, is the fact that Dr. Hafiz mentioned that he applied more than once. So what do you think was that shift that you had from the first application that you did to the one that was eventually successful, that you think has made your application successful? Because I think choosing the right track is very important, and it's going to go down with a lot of things that you're going to do with regards to your application. So not choosing the right track might be the thing that a lot of people might not have been doing right. And then because of that, someone might not have the opportunity to go into this. So please, in just one sentence, if we can do that so that we won't be behind schedule with regards to other agenda that we have, what do you think was that shift that you had from the first application to the last, starting with Dr. Hafiz?
Thank you, Shaib. What I would say here is just that when I first applied, I didn't do my homework, so I had to go back, read well for the fellowship, and then do my homework. After that, I got
Okay.
selected. This is just what I'm going to say in one sentence.
Okay, so you advise for prospective fellows to be doing the due diligence with regards to the information provided by the Department of State with regards to the fellowship, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Hafiz. Dr. Jamila, how would you advise a prospective fellow on this? Hi, Dr.
Oh,
Jamila.
okay. Yeah. Okay, let me turn on my camera so that you see that I have finished my tea.
Yeah, I brought my cough too, but then I'm having water inside. The tea is coming,
Finished.
but no problem.
Yeah, I finished it. Um, Maybe skip me because I actually applied once and I got lucky. Say is
Wow.
lucky.
Well,
Yes. So I really don't have that to share right now.
it's okay. That's fine. Pharmacist Isa.
Yeah. All right. So for me, it's the same thing with Dr. Jamila. I wanted to apply previously, but because of I couldn't finish up my school earlier than it's expected of me, so I couldn't have the time to apply. And looking at the fact that pharmacy school is very challenging, then I couldn't get time to apply. In 2022, I wanted to apply, but I'm very good in procrastinating. I said I still have time to, send my applications, and boom, for me, I just remember it's pop up on my Google Calendar that the application deadline has elapsed, and that is how I missed the 2022 without applying. Then in 2023, I was serving as a youth NYSC in Yola, so I couldn't also have the chance to apply. But then in this 2024, I intend, since after I have done my service and I'm kind of having a free time, that makes a great time for me to apply. I applied and I got selected. So I think having this antecedent of applying one or twice or thrice is really not also applied to me. But I know a lot of people, and they have shared their stories that they have applied more than once. And one of the key things that is making the applications, have this element of rejections is the fact that they are not stating exactly the impact that they are making. They are more like stating the impact in terms of statement, not using numbers. And when you are applying, you need to tell them the numbers. Okay, you have impacted 3 people, you have impacted 4, 5, or just use numbers, use date, use specific examples. And when you are like beating around the bush, a lot of readers are not going to consider your application. I have 2 friends that serve as readers last year, and previous also last year. They have read some of the applications, and that has been the comment that they have been making, that a lot of applications that they have been going through are not really stating the numbers that they are supposed to say in their stories.
That's true. So I think moving on from the tracks for the fellowship, I want us to talk about other components of the application, and starting with you, Pharmacist Isa. So I would want you to take us through some of the components. So maybe at a point where you stopped, Dr. Hafiz will go on, and then Dr. Jamila. So that's how we'll exhaust all of them. And I think Dr. Rikaya will be coming in to talk to us about some tips for a successful application. I would want us to also hammer on the fact that this is how prospective applicants should go about when they are writing their essays. I heard from other fellows that the essays are very important when it comes to grading the application, because that's where you sell yourself to the people that are reviewing your application. So, Pharmacist Isa, I would want you to take us on the next component of the application after the applicant must have chosen the right tract for him to go for.
Seems also Pan Isa's network is challenging.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Okay, Dr. Hafiz, we can go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay, you can hear me, right? Good.
Yeah, we can go ahead, Pam.
Oh, okay, all right. So, like I said, one of the things that all the applicant needs to know is they are submitting, they are applying, and they are relating or giving out their data to one of the most advanced country in the world. You're applying for a program at the United States of America. So they have every bit of technology, every bit of advanced tools to verify the information that you're submitting to them. Starting from your email, one of the readers last year said the reason why they have been rejecting a lot of applications is even from the biodata that, the biodata is not in concordance with what is on their email. When you are opening your email, there is a section where you are expected to fill in your name, your date of birth, and stuff like that. how the name is, which one is your surname, which one is your first name. So when there is discrepancy in the date of birth that you are using your email to apply for the Mandela Washington Fellowship and the one that you are using during the course of your application, that is like a red flag on your application. So you all need to pay attention to every single small detail that you think it doesn't matter to you. It really matters to them. So after choosing your track, whether you're going for the business and entrepreneurship, or you're going for the civic leadership or public management, the next thing is personal statements. That is it. That's the next thing. Personal statement is where you will start preparing your statement. Now, the personal statement, the way Mandela Fellowship application has been tailored is you're going to start about with telling your stories, the big story. Everything about you needs to be there in the personal statement. That is the first statement. It's kind of where you're expected to say a lot of things about you. You talk about your leadership experience, the challenges that you faced, and how you were able to overcome those challenges, the community impact that you are making, and your vision for Africa, or your vision for Nigeria, or your vision for your business, or your vision for that NGO that you're using, or that project. There has to be a visions, and how is the fellowship going to help you achieve your visions? This is what is expected of you when you are writing your personal statement. Write clearly. You don't have to write long sentences. Use short sentences. You don't have to be using a lot of vocabularies. Use simple vocabularies in first person models, so that at least you get to see, you get to even tell yourself that, yes, if someone is reading about me or is reading this on my behalf, he's going to be proud of saying, let me proceed and read about the next thing about this person. So I have a clue on this. I used to always tell myself that for my personal statement, it has to be like yourself, that is myself, my impact result, or the impact that I'm making on someone's, my future visions, and how can I use that platform to achieve that future visions. So you started with yourself, because you have to take care of yourself first. Then you now move on to the impact that you're going to make in your community. Then you are going to tell the person that you are applying, or the person that you're seeking that platform for, to be able to convince him that, yes, that particular platform, that particular fellowship is going to help you in achieving those your things. So that is the first thing. I'm going to talk about the second thing, then I allow Dr. Hafiz or Dr. Jamila to also say some few things. After personal statement is your leadership experience. So you see, when you are developing your personal statement, I said you have to talk also about the leadership experience. In the leadership experience, you're expected to talk about the leadership roles that you're taking, the challenges you have faced, and how you were able to overcome them in your personal statement. Then when you are developing your leadership experience, that is the second component. Here, you are expected to narrow it down a bit. It's not like a comprehensive, it's not something that is, encompassing as that of the personal statement, but this one is more detailed. So you detail your leadership through specific examples. Tell them about the date. You can start like in September 17th of 1989, I was able to do this, I was able to do that. Tell them about your purpose, your initiative, the initiative that you have led, the challenges you have faced, and how you overcome those challenges in your leadership experience. That's the second component after the personal statement. So I will allow Hafiz to also say something. If there is need for me to continue or to come back and talk about some other things, then inshallah I will do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Isa. Dr. Hafiz, before you come in quickly, I would like to acknowledge the presence of Dr. Rukaiya Nasser. Dr. Rukaiya is a former curator for the Kano Hub of Global Shippers Community, and I've already read her profile out to us. But Dr. Rukaiya said I shouldn't tell you guys that she's a consultant in cardiology, but then I'm telling you it's a secret. I hope she's not hearing me. So Mao, you are welcome on the call. And we've been discussing about the fellowship, basically discussing the overview of the fellowship, and we've spoken about the tracks for the fellowship. And we are at a point where we are taking a PTR on the areas that an applicant need to fill. And then Pharmacist Isa Dahiru just spoke about the biodata and leadership experience. So we wanted to take it up to the end of the content of the application form. But since you are here, and I knew you've written about some tips for prospective fellows on Daily Trust when you had your fellowship back in 2015, I think, together with Dr. Jamila. So I would want you to come in and tell us some of those tips, and then we'll move to Dr. Hafiz. So Dr. Hafiz, Dr. Rukaya is actually engaged in other things. If we can quickly bring her in when she's done, then we can carry on with the discussion. So you're welcome, Ma, and I'm yielding the mic to you, Ma.
Okay, thank you for the kind introduction. Assalamu alaikum and good evening, everyone. Someone was speaking. I don't know if we should cut that and then have me, and I don't know if they don't mind. I mean, do they mind being cut up because they hadn't finished? I think it was Isa Dahir or so.
No, he's done, Ma.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So
Not at all, ma. Not at all, ma.
okay, fine. So and yeah, it's not a secret. Joab said it's a secret. I'm a person of process. So yes, I'm a consultant cardiologist and fellow of the West African College of Physicians, but we're awaiting the official induction. So, using titles when you're not yet, but it's fine. So yes, I am a 2015 Mandela Washington Fellow, Civic Leadership track. And back in the day when the fellowship was quite new, should I say, it started in 2014. So, and then at that time, I think there were like 500 fellows from the whole continent. Nigeria, usually less than 50. So you needed to write at any point anyways. Even now, you needed to write some really strong essays to catch the attention of the reviewers and get invited for an interview and subsequently make the cut. So yes, I did write about my experience. I was published in Daily Trust. I think I could share that after the meeting, but it wasn't really, that write-up wasn't really about how to get in. It was just my experience, what the fellowship was for me, what going to Wagner College in New York was for me, what the curriculum was, what I learned, what they learned from us, because oftentimes you have a lot of people who have not met Africans, so they'll tell you in Africa there's this and that, and you're like, which of the 50 something countries in Africa are you talking about? So yes, there was this exchange of ideas, and you had the chance to disabuse people of certain ideas they had of Africa and Nigerians, but also to learn quite a bit. So what I was assigned to do was to speak on essay writing tips. I think that was what Joshua told me. So just a few tips. I'm sure there's a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience that has been shared, and just to kind of bring it together, hopefully. So as I met the discussion, we know that the Mandela Washington Fellowship application, if you have opened it, it's a very bulky one. I think it's one of the bulkiest applications, you would do if you compare to some other applications, Chevening, Commonwealth, maybe those because they're academic, but this is a unique program. So you get to write so many essays, which is both a pro and a con. A lot of people don't like to write. So you get to write a lot of essays. I met them going through the different sections. And in total, I think there should be like about at least 5 major essays, sometimes up to 7, major essays. And then in addition, you get to share your CV, and there's another section for additional material. So meaning there's an effort to gather a lot of information about you and so you have a platform and you have the chance to really sell yourself. But then you could, the fact that there's so many different essays, you could, get the pitfall of repetition and kind of being redundant. So it's you need to use it well, kind of, you need to use it to your advantage. And because there's a separate section where you get to upload your CV, the essay is not really asking you to repeat your CV. They are personal statements, but then they all try to address different aspects, So some would ask about your motivation, some would ask about your leadership experience, like I heard, I think it's pharmacist Dahiru talking about. Some would ask about your, write about a point in time where you were really determined against, but the people around you did not believe in what you were doing or something like that. So you need to, I think, before you start writing the essays, kind of go through the different subheadings or the different questions that are asked and decide what you want to put in each one. You want to tell a story, but these essays can be standalones, but they could have, one or two things that may connect them or may connect to your CV or something that you've said. So for each essay, you want to understand the question. If it says, tell us about a particular experience where you stood your ground or where you were determined, or then you want to do that. If it asks you about your motivation, if it asks you, you want to really understand the question for the specific essays. And like I said, you could use the different essays to your advantage because you can put out a lot of information about yourself, of different aspects that a CV or even a simple basic like one-off personal statement will not capture. So I'll give an instance probably towards the end with one of my essays that they kind of remembered when I stepped into the interview. They're like, "Oh, you're the lady." I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm that lady," So don't repeat your CV, and don't repeat things between the different essays. Kind of use them judiciously. You can refer to one or two things between the essays, but don't let it be like you're telling the same story in two separate essays. You're saying the same thing. You wouldn't be using the space or the platform you've been given well, Word count. There's a reason there are word counts. Some of the essays are long, 500 words. Some are shorter, 250, 300. So again, you want to use the word count well. You want to use at least, even if you don't have a lot to write, probably 70, 80% of the word count. Don't write 200 words for a 500 word essay. It doesn't even look good. It makes it look like you're not even willing to put in the effort. And I do say that the Mandela Washington Fellowship application, like the application itself, is a screening tool, because it takes a lot of effort and a lot of commitment to go through all of the different sections, write the different essays, edit them, reread them, make sure they're presentable, and all of that. So use your word count well. I think the platform, if I'm not mistaken, it was such a long time ago. And I tried to see if I could open the application before this meeting, but you needed to register with your email and all of that, which was, they would detect that, oh, this email has been previously registered for me. So, but I think the submission fields do a word count. So it probably doesn't allow you go over the word count. And how can you manage word count? There are words that you can contract. So I'll give you an instance. If you want to say you're interested in the program because of this and that, for someone would write, I would like to express my interest for this program. That's 10 words. You could write, I am interested. 3 words. I am interested in this program. That's half the number of words, 5 in total. Or in order to, 2, in spite of. So there are words that don't add any value that you could easily remove, That's one way to measure word count. And avoid superfluous, overly complicated sentences. You know, you should have a basic communicating abilities in English, and they would ask you to grade your own English proficiency in speaking, writing, and all of that. But if you try to like do overkill, complicated sentences and overly big words are not particularly impressive. They speak of somebody who's trying hard to show like, hey, Asabia, I know how to speak English. But you can keep your sentences simple. It helps you utilize the word counts better, you know. Be clear in communicating. Again, if you want to explain something, I don't know, you organize a program, you organize a program. Don't go convoluting one long explanation. Be clear. Try to be clear. And one thing that helps you remember to be clear is if you recall that the person reading doesn't have the chance to ask you follow-up questions. You know, you've already written and submitted. It's not an in-person interaction. They don't get to ask you follow-up questions. So if you're saying something, you want to be clear enough that the person reading it who has zero idea what you're talking about, would get the full picture that you're trying to paint by just reading what you've written. They don't have to ask follow-up questions. So that's one thing, you know, you could you need to put at the back of your mind. Oftentimes when we're writing about things that we know, we assume it's a subconscious thing that they'll kind of get it, or if you don't put a particular detail or information, they would get it, but they won't get it because it's not them. They don't know what you're trying to say. They're not inside your mind. They don't know what's at the back of your mind. So you want to be clear and concise because they don't get to ask follow-up questions. So one way you could that could help with this is to have somebody read, and we'll come to that. Somebody read what you've written and ask them if they really get the message you're trying to pass across without you having to explain that this is what I meant, or I was referring to this time or the other time. Of course, you want to kind of tell a story. So if it says why, I don't know, mention a time where you faced opposition or there was conflict and you worked with a diverse team and you resolved the conflict, kind of. You want to tell a story. So there's all this skills and whatever around storytelling, but you don't just want to itemize facts. Two people were arguing and then I showed up and you want to tell a story. In, of course, being cognizant with the word count, that somebody would remember, okay, this is what happened, you know. It's easier said than done, of course. Be authentic, and I don't like to use cliches, but I'll still say it. Reviewers can see through bogus claims, you know. So of course, people would tell you, fake it till you make it, blow up your numbers, inflate your impact. Even if you do that, you want to do that within reason, even if you do. Because there are things that would obviously sound very, peculiar, or would create doubt in the mind of the person reading, like, really, you were able to do this? And remember that, yes, if you read the selection criteria or whatever, they want to see a track record of you trying to make impact, but they also want to see potential. If you look at it, it's for people aged 25 to 35, so early career to early mid career people. And of course, they do take people younger if you've really shown that you've made a lot of impact. So the point is, they're looking for a track record, but they're also looking for potential. So if you say, I'm in healthcare, if you say you saved 1 million babies, no, you did not save 1 million babies. If you're saving 1 million babies, probably you should be starting your own fellowship and training people on how to save 1 million babies. You get what I'm saying? If you say you created employment opportunity for, 200,000 people. No, you did not. You didn't. I mean, let's be realistic. If you create employment for 200,000 people, you shouldn't be applying for the fellowship. So that's sort of a thing. So even if you want to put your best foot forward, yes, you want to present yourself in a manner that makes you look good and that makes you look like you do quite a bit, but you don't want to go overboard with it. And by the time you start making bogus claims, it's a put off. It's a put off. It's like, this guy, could we even trust them? If they needed to report impact, would they get that sort of thing? So don't do that. Like I said, they're looking for potential. Okay, in addition to proof, you're looking for potential. Of course, I did mention you can try to have some flow between your essays. They can be totally standalone. Like, one doesn't have to be related to what you're saying in the other. But if I'm in healthcare, I'm a medic, and I say, this is what I do at work, but also I volunteer with this other thing. And in general, I'm interested in non-communicable diseases, for instance. So that's heart diseases, cancers, things like that. But at the same time, there's an interaction with infectious disease. So these essays can be standalone, but you can have some small thread of flow that, like, oh, this is this person, they're involved in a particular subfield, or there's this particular thing that kind of connects some of their interests. So your grammar. There are apps now that people can use, put their essays through to check grammar, which is great. So be careful with tenses, of course, past, present, past participle, whatever. Be careful with tenses and plural, singular. So just, if you're giving, you could give somebody to proofread for you and help you point out the grammatical errors. You could put it through one of the apps or programs that check with you, but don't try not to submit an essay with too many grammatical errors and typographical errors as well. Typos make you look shabby. It's like, oh, you didn't even try to clean it up, So try to avoid those. You could have a really great essay, but then it's not coming off well because you're hitting one typo after the other. You're reading it. It's like when you're eating and there's you keep
Sorry, can
having tiny
anyone
stones.
hear Dr. Rukaya?
Okay.
Yes, we can hear her loud and clear, Doctor.
Oh,
Yeah, we can
I
hear
thought
her.
my network had went off. Oh, okay. I
Okay,
have
can
like
anyone
two
hear Dr.
separate.
Rukaya?
Yes, Doctor.
Shoaib,
We
I
can
think
hear her.
the village people are on your side.
I think it's your network.
Okay, Adam.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear her, Dr. Shaib. Sorry, Doctor, go on.
Okay, fine. So what was I saying? I talked, yeah, so when you could have a really good essay, but if the person reading keeps hitting typos, it's not nice. It leaves a bad taste in the mouth. It's like you're eating and you keep chewing a tiny stone in your food. It's like, it takes away from your overall kind of credibility, and it just makes you look shabby. So try not to have typos. And yeah, have someone really read it. When I say someone, not just everybody. Don't share it to 10 people and get 10 different opinions from people who have, probably never, you know what I'm saying? Choose the right people. Choose the right people to help you review, but also you yourself kind of sleep on it. So you probably want to start writing your essays early so that when you write the first version, you allow it stew for a bit and you revisit it and you find that you have new ideas, or you kind of think you can rearrange it. So sleep on it, really. Write an essay and leave it and sleep and look at it the next day or 2 days later. You'll find that you're able to give it a bit more spice or improve what it sounds like, or you will take bits of one and find that it's more appropriate for the other essay, not this one, and you want to tell a different story for this other one. So start early and sleep on it. Give yourself time, like reread and revise, reread and revise. You'll find that if you do that a couple of times, you end up with a much better version than you had in the beginning. And when you're writing, Cole, you don't have to have the full essay like all together from the beginning. You could write bits of it. I find that to be a great writing style, should I say. You can write bits of it, you can write the middle, or you just some really killer conclusion comes to your head. Write it down. You don't have the beginning, you don't have the middle, but if you want to end your essay on this note, you can write that. Write or type, however you're doing it. Type it in, and you can write the second part and the third. So it doesn't have to come to you like all at once in introduction, middle, and 2 paragraphs and the conclusion. It doesn't have to come in order. It can come in any order. Whatever you remember, put it down. Let it stew. You'll come up with another segment of the same essay. Sometimes you'll be writing 2-3 essays at the same time. You have the beginning of essay number 1, and you have the middle of essay number 3, and you have a conclusion for essay number 2. So allow yourself to write, as it comes. You don't have to force the structure of the essay from the beginning when you're at the ideas stage and kind of putting it down. And you don't have to stress too much about probably the grammar from that stage. You could put down the ideas, but then later on, just before you're done, make sure you've kind of tidied those up. And when you're done with all of your essays, you want to read them. You want to read them when they're all done, to see what they sound like to somebody reviewing, like what the different essays together next to each one another, what they sound like. So if there are 5 essays, when you're done with all the 5 essays, you want to open your application probably after you've slept on it for a day or 2, because sometimes your eyes don't see the mistake when you've been looking at the same document over and over, and you're not even reading it when you've been looking at it over and over in a short period of time. You're more like, re-seeing what you've stored in your memory, kind of. So you want to let it sit for a bit, and when you're done, you put it all together. You want to come and read them together and see what they sound like. Read the essays vis-a-vis your biodata, vis-a-vis the CV and your description of your work and all of that. Like, read it all together and see, can it sound better? Is one duplicating too much of the other? Should I edit this one a bit? So read it all together,
Yes.
finish it in time and read it all together. I am rounding up. And of course, we're in the age of ChatGPT. If you want to ask ChatGPT to write your essay, you need to put in as much personal detail, like to make it unique. And so I saw it. It was a joke, but it was true. Like, somebody submitted a cover letter that was AI generated, and did not even bother to edit the parts where it says, I'm interested in square brackets, insert company name because of XYZ, and then I have this insert. So they didn't even bother. So obviously you don't want to do that. Reread, revise it, share it with someone, and in the end, whatever someone will tell you is a suggestion. Sometimes you have this gut feeling that you still want to leave something in your essay, even though someone might think so. It's your essay at the end of the day.
That's
And
right.
you take feedback well, but if there are things you might want to leave in, then and you feel strongly about, then perhaps you could. Maybe I'll share the particular essay. I don't even remember many of the essays I wrote, but somehow because they remembered this one. So I think one of the essays that they talked about, I think facing opposition or being determined and sticking to your values, something like that. There was one of those essays, and I mentioned that. Okay, so I'm obviously Muslim, and I'm health conscious to some extent, and so one of my favorite sports is swimming. But then you have the challenge of finding swimming pools that are appropriate for you as a female Muslim. And so I wrote, I think, about my struggle finding an appropriate pool to go and swim, that was female only, that was properly covered, and all of that. And so I mentioned that I think part of the essay was how did you convince people to join in your idea or something like that. Anyways, I think I wrote that I spent 7 months of searching. I was in Abuja at the time for something. I spent 7 months of searching before I got a pool, and then I was able to recruit my cousins and other relatives to join because it was healthy, and they saw, kind of something around that and what my challenges were and how I overcame them and how I was able to kind of not create a swimming club, but get a couple of relatives and friends to join the pool and things like that. And I remember sharing it with a fellow from the previous year, and the feedback was, this is too personal. It doesn't really speak of a lot of impact. And maybe you want to just change this essay altogether. But for me, I didn't want to change it because it spoke about sticking to my values, facing challenges, finding innovative ways, or being determined and overcoming them, and getting people to see the value and join you and things like that. And lo and behold, when I went into my interview, one of my interviewers was the head of cultural affairs division. She's left now. I mean, they post them every now and then, so she's left now. I was the head of cultural affairs division, and when I went in, they were like, "Oh, you're the lady that loves to swim. I hope you still have access to your pool." I was like, good idea. I left my essay. So of all of the essays, including how I work in a hospital, I was working in a pioneering medical research, not me, I was working for, I mean, it wasn't my personal research, but I was working for a pioneering medical research a project at the time, and all of that. Of all of those, what stuck in her head was the story about my struggle to find a pool that was compliant to my values. And she was like, so tell me, like, I love swimming too. That was one of her comments. And that was how my interview started. So sometimes you really want to follow your own gut feelings, but open to feedback.
Thank you very much, Mas. If I can quickly come in, I
Yeah.
think in 2 minutes before we continue with the other speakers and before you leave, I
Yeah.
think Shivani, who was on the call earlier on, I think a Shepa, from where I was asking if there's a relationship between the Shepa experience and then the Washington Fellowship program, maybe a point of convergence or something.
Okay, so when I applied for the Mandela Washington Fellowship, I hadn't yet joined the Kano hub of the Global Shapers Kano hub, but I had volunteered in one of the blood drives. So I think that was one of my essays as well. What was a recent activity that I volunteered in, something like that. I know I put it in, but I joined the hub between the submission of my interview the submission of my application and the interview. So they did ask me, are you a global shaper? No, sorry, I hadn't joined the hub. They asked me, are you a global shaper? I told them I wasn't, but that I volunteer for global shapers activities in my hub. So I actually, funny enough, the point of convergence for me was I met the curator of Kano Hub during the Mandela Washington Fellowship interviews. And he was like, you really should consider joining the Global Shapers. And We took it up from there after when the interviews opened, when the next recruitment cycle opened, sorry, for the Kano hub. I joined, but I was already on my way for the Mandela Washington Fellowship at the time. But they do know, I think maybe being a global shaper might give you an uphand a bit, but not necessarily. But it may, because it shows that, okay, you already are involved in issues and concerns that are outside of your individual self. You're trying to bring about positive impact somehow.
Yeah.
So
Thank
it
you
could
very
be a
much.
plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in 30 seconds again, the experience at the Mandela Washington Fellowship and the annual curatorship conference for the Global Shapers. Is there
Yeah.
any point of convergence on that too? I think you were in Geneva for the annual curatorship conference, and then you went to the US
Yes.
for yes.
The Mandela Washington Fellowship. Yes. So the similarity is that you have a lot of people from different backgrounds in a room who are trying to make small ripples of change. I always say, if you can't change the world, you can change your own little corner. And that might just be you doing what you needed to do, or your own task or your own job well. So that, I think, that is the similarity. For the annual curators meeting, it's not African, so it's people from all over the globe. So it's an even bigger, shall I say, it's an even bigger geographical reach. You have people from many, while for the Mandela Washington Fellowship, you're all Africans, and who you're meeting during the summit. So you get to come, all of you, I think now they take about 900 or 800. All of you get to meet in Washington, D.C. with personnel from the US government. The annual curatorship meeting isn't really government, it's just people from different, it's a World Economic Forum, but it's not government, it's independent, so you get to meet people from the US government, different departments that may be related to what you're doing or not. You get to meet people from industry, from business, so I think just that overarching aim of wanting to be able to collaborate and interact and network and bring about your own capacity building, but also bring about positive change, is what makes them similar. But kind of the how do I put it? The program is a bit different. The
Mashallah.
program is a bit different. Yeah.
Mashallah. Thank you very much, Ma. And thank you so much for your time. And
Thank you.
I think if there are any other questions that people want to ask at the end of the session, I'll make sure that the ones that are directed to you are compiled by me, and then I'll forward them. We would have a poll at the end of the session, and through the poll, we'd like to collect emails of our participants, and through that, we can be able to share the copy of the newspaper that you spoke about. And we'll also make sure that all of the participants have gotten in contact with the finalists through emails, so that if they do have any question, or if they would want any of the speakers to review their application, they can be able to do that. So for now, we'll thank you.
I can't promise being able to review applications for this particular application cycle, only because I have certain engagements coming up really close by. So honestly, I can't promise reviewing individual applications, but probably I could answer more general questions. Yeah. And if I want to say a huge thank you to Jamila Muhammad, I think she joined. I literally dragged her, and we're like, you need to come on. Jamila was regional advisory board member after the fellowship. She was voted in to represent Nigeria and the West Africa. Sorry, to represent West Africa in the regional advisory board post fellowship. So thank you, Jamila, for making the time to come.
Yeah. She has shared a lot of nuggets, and I'm sure we'll get more as we carry on with the conversation. I think to Dr. Hafiz for him to build on what we are discussing on, and then from there we'll move to Dr. Jamila again. So Dr. Hafiz, over to
Okay.
you.
All right. So thank you. I will have to run. And still apologizing to the person that was interrupted for me to come in. All right. Have a great evening and really apply. I think even the application process makes you really think about, a lot of things, because they're asking you, where do you see yourself in this amount of time? It allows for a lot of introspection on your own part as well.
That's true.
All right.
Thank you.
You. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you,
Bye.
ma. Bye, ma. So Dr. Hafiz, over to you. Hi, Dr. Hafiz. So, Dr. Jamila, can you please quickly come in? If Dr. Hafiz is not close by, we can get back to him later. Hi, Dr. Jamila. Hello.
I don't think she's not in the meeting.
Okay, what about Dr. Hafiz?
Okay,
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So I say if we can quickly
Um,
comment to build on what was said by pharmacist Isa Dahira and Dr. Rugaya Nasser. So
Definitely, it's going to be quick because I didn't even take my lunch. So I was
no
reviewing someone's essays and doing some other stuff, and I didn't
problem.
know that the time has run away like that.
No
So
problem.
Dr. Rukaya and the pharmacist Isa has already like mentioned the detailed part of the fellowship application. I would just say that the application has like 17 components, so it's huge. But when you do your homework, when you know what you're doing, when you know your professional accomplishments, and you know your motivations, and you know what you want to do, this is going to be easy for you. But before you start the application, make sure you check the eligibility criteria. Check the eligibility criteria, know that you're qualified for it, and then start your application. As Dr. Rukaya said, the application needs time. You don't have to just send it within a day or just within some hours. Someone was telling me yesterday that he has already submitted his application. That I should come and review his application. When I asked him what am I submitted, you understand? So just take the questions, see the questions, like the personal statements, which has like 5 essays, 250 words, 250 words twice, then 150 words, 150 words, I think 100 words. That's how they are. So just like you can get the questions now, start drafting your essays, and then make sure you bid the time. Don't leave it till the end of the application cycle. That is September 10th, if I could remember. And the applications essays goes like this. The first, they do ask about the professional accomplishments. What have you accomplished within the first year? Then come and mention that I have accomplished something in 2010, 2010, 2015, something like that. We are in 2025. Make sure what you are mentioning is like a recent 2023, 2024, since we are like in 2025 cycle.
Yes, Dr. Hafiz. So I had
I
some of
started my first personal statement. That's my first essay. That's professional accomplishment.
yes. You can carry on. Maybe I'll come to that later. I thought you are done. Yes.
Okay. Then what I'm saying is that after you've done with that accomplishment, I started mentioning with what I accomplished in that in 2023. Just like that, simple. I accomplished social things, like I empowered 20 people with health education, stuff like that. And then when you come to the next ASS, that is the prepared institute track. That's what I say. That's why I say you need to know which track you supposed to choose, because this is reflect on action. If you give your input and don't reflect on the selected track, then you tell yourself. And then the next part is the community service. But like the number of people you have impacted. If it is 3 people, if it is 4 people, just mention it. But be specific, be authentic. And then the diversity and accessibility part of the ACES, you have to mention something that you have done to be like inclusive. You understand? And then the last part of ACES is the resilience. Be resilient. Like Mandela, Washington Fellows are all resilient. That is the slogan of the fellowships. That you need to be resilient. I knew many of my colleagues who applied like 8 times, 7 times, 5 times. I knew some of them, majority of them. Like they were applying, they keep applying. You understand? So be resilient. Know what you put on your SS, and then submit it at the end of the of when you are like okay with the ESS, and make sure each and every honors or achievement that you have gotten throughout your career, whether it is student, whether it is during your early career or mid career, make sure you put it in that professional experience part, not in the SS part. You understand? So this is basically what I'm going to say, and then maybe if I will take my permission from Shaibu and the audience. Can I leave after that because I need to go and eat, and then maybe some other stuff.
So I don't know if you can spare us some few minutes so that we'll have some questions from the audience and then we'll close. So I'm going back to Dr. Jamila, then Pharmacist Lahir, and then we'll go to question and answers. That's all. So Dr. Jamila, I don't know if Dr. Jamila is back with us. Okay. Mariam Bichi, I think she has been experiencing network problem, but I don't know if Mariam, you are back on the call too.
I think I'm around.
Okay, because I'm using my phone, I've been having problem with my computer too. So Mariam, I think the floor is yours now. So general tips with regards to the application, and then we'll do Pharmacist Ira and then question and answers. So please, Mariam, go ahead.
Okay, so I think Dr. Rukaya from Hafiz, like they have said it all. They have like us a breakdown of what to expect in the action and how to go about it. Um, I think what I add is just try your best as Dr. Rukaya has said. Just do it. Which I think it has like 5 questions you are going to answer. So
I think Mariam is still breaking. I don't know if it is me or can anyone hear Mariam clearly?
Yes, I can hear her clearly.
She's actually breaking now. We can hear you.
Can you hear me? Yeah?
Yes, we can hear you now,
All
Mariam.
right. So as I was let me share my
Yes, we can hear you.
as I was the personal statements are the most important. Firstly, the first session of the application looks about your overall professional like accomplishments from the past year and your long-term goals. So just try your best. Don't rush it. Try your possible best, as Dr. Rukaya has said. Maybe draft somewhere. First thing I advise people is go in, sign up and go and have access to the questions, and then you can come back and maybe draft your answers, draft them from your own, from your heart, from your experience, what you have done, and look at where you want to be and then how you have been doing it. These are all things you will answer in the application. Like for the first personal statement, it talks about your motivation, like what motivates you, and then your professional accomplishment, and where you see yourself in the long term. So in summary, you as a person, that's what you will try to define. And then the other part of the question talks about on the based on your preferred institute of track, what skills and knowledge do you hope to gain? So this is another place where you will try your best to answer maybe the skills, the knowledge, and other opportunities you wish to gain. This is a place where they like themselves to be acknowledged, you know. So this is where you will show them that you are going to get something out of what you have not get maybe in your life or whatever. Just try to be specific. Just allow them to know that um allow them to know that you really know what you are doing and you know what you want to achieve. And then finally, there is a quote in the application. There is a quote also. They will ask you maybe a quote of Nelson Mandela. Like previously in our application, they asked us to how are you working to address the needs in your community. This also goes back to your track, to the track you have selected. For example, in business, so or in civic, if you feel like okay, there is disparities in your community, you are bridging the gap of quality, I mean, was it inequality or inclusion or whatever, you will address the need, and then you will tell the need, and then you will also tell them how you are addressing it. It is very, very important in every application. They used to write that. So look at that. And lastly, the diversion. I'm sorry, why diversion? The diversity. Dr. Hafiz has said it. The diversity and inclusion question. They will ask you about how you are what is your approach working with people who have identities or ideas different from your own? How do you do inclusive leadership? So try your best to also answer that. Let's say you are a journalist and you are applying for that, so you will try to answer that horizon. You should try to align that what you are doing with the track you selected, with your impact, and then in summary to the application. That is all. When you do that, and don't over stress it. When you apply, just forget about that. Just put your mind above it, as Dr. Rekaya has said. Even through the application, you are going to learn a lot. And when you answer this, I tell you that there are other opportunities which you can approach.
Mashallah, Mariam. So I think for the audience, you can start typing in your question in the chat box. And Uga Adam, after this question that I'm going to ask Mariam, I will hand the mic over to you so that you can kind of go with the questions and give it to the participant give it to the speaker, sorry, for them to answer them. So Mariam, I had one of the former applicants saying that you would have to be consistent with the ideas that you are sharing at every point of the essays that you are writing. So how true do you think this statement is?
How to be consistent in what?
You have to be consistent with the ideas that you are presenting in the essays. For example, you can start talking about education and then you go to healthcare and all of those things, that you have to be linking what you are writing essays on, so that all of the application that you are submitting is going to be connected. How
Yes,
true do you think this idea is?
very true. It is very true. In fact, now let's say you say you are doing education, try your best your answer to go consistently with what you are doing in education. Don't say okay, because there are a lot of people that are doing a lot of things, but try your best to be as specific as or try to make. That's why I said alignment, the English
Yeah.
of harmonizing.
Mashallah, Mariam. So, Barrister Adam, over to you. I think we can go with the questions from the participants. For the people that want to unmute their mic and speak, I think they can be given chance. And for the ones that are prepared to type it in the chat box, they can go ahead and do so too. And I think this is the most important part of the application due to the fact that we've been answering general questions. So at this point, we are trying to cater to the specific needs of the people that we have on the call. So Adam, over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shaib. Thank you so much to our speakers, Mariam, Jamila, Isa, Dahiru, Dr. Hafiz. Thank you so much for the insightful presentations. So we are going straight into the questions. We already have questions on the chat box, but before I start reading them, I think I can first give the people that have raised their hand. We're only going to take like 4 people, and then we also take 3 questions from the chat box. And those that we are not able to take, we're going to have, you can send in your questions. We're going to get the speakers to answer them, and then we'll share it. We'll share the answers with you after the meeting. Let's start with Rahma. Rahma, please, can you mute? Just go, ask your question straight. You can unmute yourself. Rahma Adam Muhammad. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Yeah.
Good afternoon, good day to you all. Hello. Hello,
Yes, Rahma,
Assalamu
go on.
alaikum.
I hear you. Walaikum
Okay,
salam.
my question is, I'm 21 years old, going to 22. So can I apply?
All right. Mariam, can you answer this?
Attempt speak about age between 25 to 35, but if you are doing something very exceptional, they might consider. Example, there was not in our Nigerian cohort, but there was our colleague at University of Minnesota. She said there was a lady who was 23, who is practicing medicine, so she was selected and she was part of the fellowship. But
Mariam, there's also a fellow from Kenya who is 21 to 22 years old. So I think it's just basically about what you're doing. You understand? If you're doing something exceptional, then she can go ahead and apply.
So we are not the ones that are doing the acceptance or reviewing. We are just beneficiaries of the program.
Thank you, Mariam. Okay, so Rahama, you can apply. If you have done anything exceptional and you have a track record of making impact, you can apply. Can we go to Abdullahi Mustafa Rabiu? Please unmute yourself and ask your question straight.
Thank you, sir, for the opportunity. My question is, I heard them talking about the application process. I want us to talk a little about the interview, how it is done, and what is expected from the applicants at the interview stage. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Abdullahi. Dr. Hafiz, can you go with that?
Yeah. So is it Abdullahi who just asked the questions? Or what is his name?
Yes, Abdullahi Mustafa Rabiu.
Abdullahi, I think we are in the application cycle now. So for you to scale up through the interview level, you have to finish with the application first. And I can tell you that last year there is overall 55,000 applications across the Africa, and only 700 people got it. So, and from Nigeria, we also have like 10,000 applications, and only 56 people got it. So what is more important now is to like know what you're doing, write a compelling story, and go to the application portal and apply.
And then after that, the interview, usually last year they considered coming to Kano to do some interview for people around Northwest, but toward the age of the interview date, which I also happen to be the people that you will interview in Kano, they send me an email that they are not coming to Kano due to insecurity, stuff like that. And then they ended up interviewing me via Zoom, which is just 15 to 20 minutes. It's a short interview. And they just want to know about you, like, are you the one who read the applications or not? They want to confirm that, and they want to verify that information that you have submitted in your applications. So what stand out now is to write a strong application and then build off on that. I believe Global Chef has Kano and other organizations and even other people who like have another sessions for those who go to the interview this thing stage. Thank you.
Definitely.
Actually, Dr. Hafiz, yes, we have a plan for that. We intend to focus on the application stage now. So once we get to the interview stage, we're going to organize another webinar and have you also here to explain to us how to successfully pass the interview. Thank you so much. So from the chat box, someone asks, do we necessarily need to have an international passport to get the fellowship, or the fellowship sponsors it? Also, what are the other documents we need? Okay, so I think this guy is asking the documents that are needed for the fellowship. The pharmacist Isa, can you answer this?
I think
Sorry, Dr. Shaibu, please, the question again.
Okay.
Okay, all right, go on, Mariam.
Okay.
Okay, pharmacist, go on. Sorry.
Farm is
No, I mean,
let me end. Yes, Isa already had a passport when he applied, but me, I know I don't have a
Okay.
passport. So
All right, I think you're in the best position.
yeah, passport when I applied, and it doesn't affect the application, your application. And also, in fact, even when I was selected, I had my passport, but then something happened to my passport. I lost it through a fire accident. I think it was 2 weeks to our visa interview. Then I wrote an email to the IREX, Mandela Washington Fellowship, blah blah. Then they said it's not a problem. The number I applied for my visa interview, even if they change the passport number for me, I should just email it to them. So I did, and when I made my own new passport prior to the day for visa interview, everything went smoothly for me. So passport is not an issue. The most important thing is to get selected, and other documents needed, it's going to be after your selection. So, but for now, I want people to really focus, as Hafiz has said, try your best to focus on the application, your essays and all of that. Other documents needed might be definitely your passport when you are going for the for the visa interview, when you have finally been selected, your visa interview, and they give you your J1 visa and your document for whatever. So for now, it is the application, and you having a passport doesn't matter.
Ogadam, please, can we keep the questions and the answers under 1 second so we can give as much people as possible chance to ask questions and get answers?
Okay, all right, no problem then. That's fine. Mariam, this one that you're talking about visa application. Someone asks regarding the fellowship, if you are successful, you'll be granted a J1 visa, which automatically makes you ineligible for any other visa to the US for subsequent 2 years. Is there any chance of bypassing this rule? I mean, can a fellow be able to get a study visa after the fellowship, for example? Can you answer this, Mariam?
I think I need to come up this because I happen
Okay,
to
all right.
see someone.
All right, please. All right.
Initially also my thought was that the same, that if I got the G1 visa, because the G1 visa has 2-year rules, that if you got selected and got the G1 visa on your passport, printed on your passport, You won't have like any other visa to the United States for 2 years. But that 2 years, you have to be you have to be physically in your country. But it's not like that. When I research and I also so some people in the United States who were also a past alum, that changed my narratives. I researched that even if it is like H1 visa, that is the working, the employment visa that is attached to that 2 year rule, it can be waived. But F1 visa for study, they can issue that for you, because I saw a fellow from South Africa in my institute who happened to get that visa, F1 visa. But for you to get HB1 visa, that is the working visa, employment visa in the United States, it is after 2 years physical presence in your country. But with some specifications, they can waive that. That some people were working in the health and other stems like that. So this is just what I'm going to say about these questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hafiz. And I think you have answered that question. Okay, someone said, I didn't hear any speaker talking about the interview part. I think we have answered that. I have heard from the fellows that they check applicants' social media activities. Is that true? Can a university student apply? These are two questions, and I think can be answered in 30 seconds. Pharmacist Isa, can you answer them? Whether social media activities of applicants are being checked and whether a university student can apply.
Yes, they do check that for security verifications and stuff like that. Like during the application, like I told you, I have a friend who happens to be a reviewer. He has been applying and he has been reviewing applications. So one of the criteria that the Mandela Washington do send to reviewers is they should look for social media handles for because they are trying to check like an extremist activities, like activities that has to do with extremism, stuff like that. So the social media happens to be a very niche for them to get those information. So they are checking social media handles, and people need to be very careful on what they post on social media, and even during the application they have to select the words that you will be using to confirm or to form your ACs. You don't use words that show you're an extremist or something like that.
Thank you, Pharmacist. Can a university student apply?
Yes, definitely. University student can apply.
Thank you. Let me open the mic to Zainab Abdul Fatah. Please, in 10 seconds, can you ask your question? Zainab Abdul Fatah. All right, let's go to Ahmad Abubakar.
Okay, assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everyone. I would have
Please,
to say I'm really sorry for joining very late. I'm supposed to be one of the facilitators for this session, but I had unforeseen.
Oh, Ahmad, sorry, you're welcome. Can anyone hear Ahmad?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go on.
Well, I'm supposed to be one of the facilitators for the session. Unfortunately, I had unforeseen circumstances. I was in the airport. I was supposed to be in Abuja exactly by 4:30, so I didn't have enough network to join, and that's why I'm coming down very late. So, however, I'll be here answering any question that may come up. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ahmad. And I think you're going to be the one to give us a closing remark as regard to the application. So we'll come back to you. Thank you so much for joining. Isa Muhammad, can you in 10 seconds please ask your question?
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. My question here is that can you please shed more light about the PDE part of the application, that is professional development experience? Thank you.
Ahmad, can you answer this question? All right, Dr. Hafiz or Pharmacist Ahiru, can anyone answer this?
Okay, PDE, as I mentioned in my remarks earlier, is like optional part of the Mandela Washington Fellowships. which after the 6 weeks of the program of the MWF program, you stay in the United States for another 4 weeks. You'll be attached to like a government organization, non-profit, that is non-governmental organization or private sector to have an experience regarding to your profession. This is just like optional part and is competitive. They do select 100 people out of the continent to do PDE. So if you need to apply for PDE again, you need to showcase another applications which is strong and which will benefit your organization or what you're doing or whatsoever. So this is just basically about PDE, and it is also police sponsored. You don't have to pay anything. You don't have to feed yourself. You don't have to take care of your transportation to the place of where you're working or something like that.
Thank you, Dr. Hafiz. Ibrahim Abbas, please 10 seconds. Ask your question. Ibrahim Abbas. All right, Sulaim. Sulaim. Hello, Sulaim. All right, Abdul Malik Yau. Okay, Sulaim, go on.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Okay, my question is that can you please create a platform on either WhatsApp or so that we can be getting you through the platform?
Okay, so I'm sure you received this invite through your email, right?
Yes.
So any
No,
update that we have, we usually send it to your emails. And if you have any question, you can always email us. We'll get the facilitators to answer your question.
Okay.
Thank you, Muslim. Let me go to the chat.
Hello.
So Zainab Magaji said, please, I need clarity on this question. What steps? Please mute yourself. Who is talking?
Ibrahim Abbas.
Okay,
You
Ibrahim
call
Abbas,
Ibrahim.
please. Okay, 10 seconds, please.
Hello, are you hearing me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hi.
Hello, Ibrahim. Go on. Okay, so please, I need clarity on this question. What step do you regularly take to ensure inclusion of diverse identity and ideas in your work? Zainab Magaji is asking this question. I don't know who can answer it. Pharmacist, can you answer this question?
Doctor Barista, sorry, my network is kind of bad. Can you rephrase? Can you just read the question again?
Okay, so she said, what steps do you regularly take to ensure inclusion of diverse identities and ideas in your work?
Okay, I think you just need to take 2 steps. You don't have to, like Nigeria is a secular country, you don't have to exclusively state that you are aligned to this or you are aligned to that. You just stay neutral, and that's my advice to you. You don't have to show that you are into this section, you are into that. You just stay neutral without condemning anyone. Yeah, without giving any negative, attach it to any sex or any orientation or any form of life. So you just write it as natural as possible.
Thank you, Pharmacist Issa. This one said, hello, thank you for the presentation. I heard from someone that they are going to need a recommendation letter. Please, how true is this? I think Mariam Bichi, that recently went for the fellowship, is in the best position to answer this question. Mariam, are you still on the call?
Yes, I am. Actually, it's not true. We didn't submit any recommendation letter. We were not asked to submit any recommendation letter from anyone. I don't know if it's another application, maybe for scholarship or something. I don't know, but we didn't do that.
All right, thank you. That's a good one.
Can we wrap up in few minutes? I think it's almost time for prayers.
Yes, I think let me ask this last question, and then we can finish. Will you please share more light on the PDE part of the application? Dr. Hafiz, can you answer this in 1 minute so that we can conclude? So please,
I will say that PDE is professional development experience. For example, if you are in health sector or you are in education and wanted to apply for PDE, that is 4 weeks stay after the fellowships, is you have to demonstrate what you want to learn from that organizations that you wanted to be attached to. If you happen to be in health, there are like FAT, there are USAID, CDC, Health Partners, and all other host organizations. It's there mentioned in the website of the YALI. You need to all subscribe to Yali News so that you can see all what they are doing, and then from there you can grab something that you can include it in your application of even if it is PDE or Mandela Washington Fellow. So PDE is like they are training you on what you're doing. If you are into health promotion, they will attach you to a health promotion organization where they will be telling you on their policies, on their way of doing things, and all that. If you're into education, you can be attached to university. They will be telling you about the policies of how they govern the university and how things is running in that university. If you are into human rights, they will post you to that human rights commission, and you will be alone, only you. Unlike in the Mandela Washington Fellowship first part, where you'll be together with 25 people from different African countries. You understand? So this is just about the PDE, and I will insist that if you want to apply for that, you need to also write another compelling story, compelling application regarding the PDE, and then submit it together with the MWF application. So this is just, it's not like another part. It's like optional part of the Mandela Washington Fellowship program.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hafiz. So I think this bring us to the end of the question and answer session. I'm going to post our email address for those that their hands are still raised. Please, you can always send your questions to our email. We'll send it through to the facilitators, and then we get it answered and we share it with you. Thank you so much, guys, for your time. shapersKano@gmail.com is our email. You can always send your questions and we'll get facilitators to answer them. Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you very much. So just to add to what Barrister Adam has mentioned, if you do have any question, you can send it to our email, shapersKano@gmail.com. And if you also need the email address of any of the facilitators, you can also send in a request to our email, and then we'll forward that to you. And this recording is going to be available on our YouTube page. It's also Shapers Kano on YouTube. So we are going to upload all of that. I saw that Ibrahim has a question on this. So we're going to upload the recorded version, and then we can go through it and listen to all of the things that have been discussed. So before we go, Ogadam, I don't know if we can request the participant to please put on the camera so that we can have a short selfie, and then we'll go back to our speaker who was inevitably present to give us a closing remark, and then we'll call it a day. So please, can we on our cameras?
Yes, we can. Please, let's on our camera for...
Yes, just 10, 20 minutes. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Abdurrahman. Thank you, Pharmacist Isa. I can see your cameras are on.
I can't see.
Zainab. Thank you, Abdullah. Thank you, Isa. Thank you, Suleiman. Thank you, Aliyu. So, guys, can we go with the selfie? So we are taking the selfie in the count of 5. So, guys,
wait, I'm not ready.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, we can start.
Okay. So do you want to do the countdown?
Yes. One,
Okay.
2, 3, go. Thank you. Yep.
Thank you, guys. I hope we'll continue with this discussion and through our email address that we provided in the chat box. Thank you so much for joining and looking forward to seeing all of you on the interview session that we are going to organize. A special thanks to Mrs. Isa Dahiru, to Mariam Bichi, to Dr. Hafiz, to Dr. Rukaya, and Dr. Jamila, and Abubakar too, all of the facilitators that we have. And do have a nice day. Looking forward to seeing all of you again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Is Ahmad still on the call?
Yes, I am. I am.
Okay, so please, departing words, maybe 2
All
or
right.
3 nuggets, and then we'll close.
Yeah. So, what I would just say very quickly is, try to be as authentic as possible, because everyone is unique in their own ways. You cannot answer somebody else's question. If in a room a question was asked, "What is your name?" Everyone says their essays, and also make sure that you do not look down on the efforts you do in your community, no matter how little they are. Because most of the times, the efforts we consider insignificant are the ones that elevate our status quo. So just try to be very authentic and do not look down on the impact you do in your community. This will be my words, and I wish everyone a success.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a nice, enjoy your weekend, your evening. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye bye. See you next
Bye.
time.